So my name's Joe. I'm in Chicago. In 2017, I started a small chicken sandwich shop with a bucket of paint. We did it very modestly with $63,000. And fast forward to today, we've got 9 restaurants, have 158 employees, and we just finished last year at $12.9 million.
Good for you. Wow.
Yeah.
Congratulations.
Thank you so much. So my question is, and it's around my audacious goal to open up 75 restaurants in the next 10 years. And what I've learned, and we just keep dumping all of our cash back into the business, reinvesting it. Our cash flow only allows us right now to open up about 1 to 2 stores a year. And I know that will...
Wait a minute, you got 15 since 2017.
We have 9 stores. I'm working on my 10th one right now.
Oh no, it's 158 team members. I'm sorry, I got it.
158.
So you have 9 stores now.
Yep, that's correct.
Okay.
Operating 7 days a week. We're working on our 10th one right now. I'm actually sitting in it at a vacant restaurant. But our cash flow really only allows us to open about 2 restaurants a year. We've tried to leverage a good relationship with our bank, our local bank, to do some bank debt to kind of use some line of credits. We've kind of realized, like with the restaurant business, not having a lot of assets, that we cannot use bank debt. They just won't let us grow. So my question is, how and what vehicle should we use to open up these 75 restaurants to hit my audacious goal for the next 10 years?
Okay. Are you buying the real estate in each location?
So we own 4 of the buildings right now. So yes and no.
Well, I mean, when you say you're cash flowing 2 a year, does that include the purchase of real estate or just doing leasehold build out?
So preferably it will be leasehold build out, but we do own 4 of the buildings now. So we have.
I mean, your plan going forward are you mainly going to be leasehold build out? Yeah,
the plan going forward is going to be leasehold.
So you have $13 million in revenue, and you can only afford to do 2 build-outs a year? You don't have any margin?
We're about 10%, 12%. We were 12% profitable last year. So we do have some cash to open up
restaurants. What's it take to build out one?
We're at about $300,000 to $500,000 a year. I mean, I'm sorry, $300,000 to $500K to open one.
Mm-hmm. Okay, so, yeah, all right. Well, obviously, the more of them you have open, the more cash you have coming in, assuming they're all profitable. And so, I mean, if you had 18 open instead of 9 open, you would be able to open 4 instead of 2, correct?
Sure, yep.
Yeah. So, in other words, it snowballs in your favor as it gets bigger. So you would borrow money to do the build-outs and accelerate beyond your cash capacity, accelerate your growth. That's the idea.
Correct. Yeah, that is the idea.
Okay. All right. Well, yeah, banks are not. The problem is that the leasehold improvements have no value in terms of collateral. So that it does make sense that they're not willing to do that.
And we have no
Joe,
assets,
I don't. You probably already know I don't borrow money.
Yeah.
And so I don't teach people to borrow money. I'm trying to get my head around exactly what all you're considering here to try to come up with some kind of an alternative. So the goal that you have is beyond your cash. And so it might as well, instead of 75 restaurants, it might as well be 750.
Yes, correct.
I mean, it's the same thing. If it works for 75, it'll work for 750. And if borrowing into it will work for 75, it'll work for 750. So my point is you pulled this number of 75 out of your ear. It didn't come from anything other than it just sounded like a great thing to do.
Well, a part of it was really around the 25 million EBITDA mark. And at 25 million EBITDA, I really feel like we have a huge asset on our hands that is sellable, that we can really take care of our team. And then I started working backwards. I'm like, well, how do we get to 25 million EBITDA? And then I started looking at, okay, if we had 75 stores and we were 15% profitable.
Is your end goal then to sell it?
Our end goal is to sell it, yeah.
Okay. And chicken restaurants don't sell until you get to 25 million EBITDA.
Well, we would have at 5 million EBITDA, we would have a line of people. Yeah. But I feel like when you get to 25 million, it allows for the company to go public. There's just so many more options for us to kind of, go to the moon and back with that. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. A big part of our business too is I really want to grow our company so we can grow our people. And there's a key, it's been 7-8 years now, and there's been a few key players that have helped me get here. And I would love to set up a retirement for them and get them, cashed out. So a dream come true is if we are able to sell the company one day, is I can, really take care of our team with, life-changing checks, essentially. Mm-hmm. Kind of a light at the end of the tunnel.
Here's the equation that's bothering me. And so I'm learning from you. I appreciate the numbers, and you didn't pull it out of your ear. I retract my statement. You actually had a plan, so I stand corrected. The thing that's bothering me is the more debt you have, the more risk you have, and risk equals that I don't get to finish the game. Risk equals the thing hits the wall and the car is destroyed and you don't finish the race. Mm-hmm. That's risk. And the more debt you take, the higher that probability. Sustainability is increased dramatically sitting where you're sitting right now with zero debt. And so what I'm more concerned with you living your dream slower and your dream completing than I am you living your dream faster, and let's lower the probability of a completion and getting across the finish line. And so, it might be that it takes a little time, a little bit more time than you initially anticipated to get there. But by cash flowing it, the difference in our operation is it's not for sale under any circumstances. It's a generational operation. And so it changes the games. My friend Simon Sinek wrote a book called The Infinite Game. And when you're playing a game that has a set of rules with a set ending, which is what yours is, you play the game differently than you play if there's no end. Ours is running in perpetuation, and so the debt-free idea becomes way more important in my situation than it is in yours. You follow me?
Oh, yeah.
Because you're playing a finite game. You've got a very specific end to this, not necessarily a time frame, but a set of numbers, and we have an exit planned already, So it's somewhere between 5 and 25 EBITDA. And, we might get more bang for our buck if we run it on up, but we might also get out while the getting's good at 12. So, and you might make a huge pile of money and have still hit all of your wildest dreams. So the thing that you're not considering in the language that you're using, it doesn't sound like you're considering, that the more debt you add, the more risk you add. It feels like you feel like that there's no downside to borrowing up to my eyeballs to run these 75 up.
Well, the way I was thinking about it is really each restaurant could be responsible for its own debt. So if we take $300,000.
Well, it's not, because they're not going to loan that restaurant money.
Yeah, totally, yeah.
And even a JV or somebody comes in, they're not going to do that. They're going to package it. Because they're not big enough businesses to stand alone. They're not credit worthy as an individual store. And so, again, you're not going to be able to bank that. But even if you could, I'm going to urge you to just slow down, do this a little bit slower, and let it cash flow. You'll be amazed about how quickly you get there if you're not giving the bank some of your cash. Mm-hmm. Because, we started from nothing on a card table in my living room 32 years ago. I'm sitting in a building of $650 million. I paid cash for it.
Wow.
But it's 30 freaking years. I mean, this is not 30 months, okay? And so it's, and there, but when COVID hit, I was not worried about my landlord or my bank foreclosing because I'm both. And I'm fairly friendly to me. So, I always urge entre leaders when I'm speaking to them to have their face on the cover of Slow Company magazine, not Fast Company magazine. It's not sexy, but you do get to finish the race. And I would rather finish the race with a bronze medal than come up limping and not finish at all. And so I'm more willing to go slow and steady and be the tortoise, not the hare. And I don't think you're going to do that, but I'm not wired to answer your question well because I don't believe it's what's best for you. So I'm going to beg you to cash flow this and grow it as you can, as fast as you can. And I'm fine living on beans and rice and throwing it all back into the restaurant. I've done that. I cash flowed every bit of this, and that means the money didn't go home. So, that's the angle I'm going to take on the thing. So, hey, thank you, sir. I give you some things to think about, and you just taught me some things about the chicken business I didn't know.